Malik Nabers is a New York Giant, and we are going to be doing a career sim to see how good of a career he has, and will he save Daniel Jones from being a complete draft bust. I mean, I don't think Daniel Jones has much time left before the Giants give up on him. And not many people know this, but Malik Nabers is actually not only LSU's receiving leader with the most receptions, he's also the receiving yards leader as well. That puts him ahead of some names like Justin Jefferson and Odell and Jamar Chase. The New York Giants, after losing Saquon Barkley, really their only flash player on offense, need a flash player in Malik Nabers, and let's go and see how he does. Year one, it is 4-13 for the New York Giants, so not off to a great start. By the way, I'm going to be the Washington Commanders, someone in the division. I'm not going to be Giants, so I don't affect their gameplay at all. Daniel Jones, only 2,854 yards, 11 passing touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. That's a very horrible year for Daniel Jones. Devin Singletary, 1,883 yards and 7 rushing touchdowns. That's actually a pretty solid year. Malik Nabers, the man of the simulation, 758 yards with 4 receiving touchdowns. So that's not a great rookie year. It could be better, but not bad for any means, especially with Daniel Jones at your quarterback. Year two, all right, the New York Giants are 7-10. They're improving a little bit, and they are 23 in the league. Also, by the way, a little bit later in the sim, we will be going by 2 years, so we don't have this video be like a million hours long for you guys. Daniel Jones, okay, he's having a bounce back year. And do we have Tua Tagovailoa? No, okay, we got his brother. Daniel Jones around 4,000 passing yards with 25 passing touchdowns and 15 interceptions, and we drafted Tua's brother apparently, or the New York Giants, I just say, drafted Tua's brother. Devin Singletary, 902 yards, or 802 yards, 12 rushing touchdowns. So that's quite a bit of rushing touchdowns. Danny Dimes got 2 rushing touchdowns. Darren Waller was the leading in receiving yards with 959 and 6 receiving yards. Malik Nabers, only 2 receiving touchdowns. So do expect more from that. 2 receiving touchdowns. He should be getting more than that. And 856 yards, so the yards is not bad. He definitely needs to get those touchdowns up. So we are going on to year 3 now, and the Giants are 6-11, so they fall back 1 game worse than what they were last year. So hopefully they can start turning it around. I think Daniel Jones did kind of have a bounce back year, but maybe they need to get rid of him. And yeah, this isn't really a great year. 3,900 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, and 25 interceptions. Devin Singletary is still on the team. I'm kind of shocked he's still on the team, but that's good for the Giants because he seems to be doing good. 971 yards and 10 rushing touchdowns. Daniel Jones with 384 yards and a rushing touchdown. Darius Slayton is the leader in receiving yards. Kind of shocking right there, with 5 receiving touchdowns too. Malik Nabers, 929 yards with 3 receiving touchdowns. Darren Waller with 796 yards with 9 receiving touchdowns. So Malik Nabers, he really does need to step it up. It's not bad. Like, these aren't bad numbers at all, but 6th overall pick numbers, no. Year 5, we are 7-10, and we have Kenny Pickett as our starting quarterback, and he actually seems to be doing good. Apparently, Kenny Pickett is going to do really good in like 4 years down the road in Madden's eyes, around 3,499 yards. He had 20 touchdowns with only 6 picks, so very low amount of passing touchdowns, but it is a low amount of picks, so I guess it kind of equals out. We have Zach Charbonnet right there, so I guess Devin Singletary is his first year not as a Giant. We also have Jerome Ford. Charbonnet had over 1,100 yards with 10 rushing touchdowns, so a pretty good year from him. Malik Nabers, okay, this is kind of the year we expect, and he should be receiving in yards. He should be the leader, and he's just a yard short of having a 1,000-yard season, so that sucks. 999 yards, 6 receiving touchdowns. Okay, 6 receiving touchdowns, that's respectable. We added Khalil Shakur from the Buffalo Bills. I believe he was the 3rd, but now he's going to transform into a number 2. They got Deontay Johnson, too, so they got a couple of old Steelers. They got Kenny Pickett and Deontay Johnson. All right, and in year 6, the Giants actually make playoffs. They are the 11th seed, and they went 10-7. So good for the Giants. They finally able to make a playoff appearance. I'm curious to see if it was Kenny Pickett on the team or not. and they are not able to get past the first round at all. They finally make playoffs, but they are only able to put up 16 points in the first round against the Chicago Bears. So the Chicago Bears eliminate them 16-21. That is a kind of a rough look for the Giants, but hey, it's a playoff appearance. They were able to do it. So now year 8, again, so we don't want to bore you guys to death, so we just kind of skipped around a couple years. So after his 999 yard, he had 1,096 yards with 5 receiving touchdowns, averaging 11.2 yards per reception. Then he kind of had a mid-year in receiving yards, 789 yards, but 6 touchdowns, averaging 12.7 yards per reception. And then 1,091 yards with only 3 receiving touchdowns, though. Year 10, he had 1,177 yards. So there we go. Malik Nabers is really starting to heat up. Took him a little bit, but maybe he just needed some solid quarterback play. 1,177 yards, as I said, and 6 receiving touchdowns. And then the next year, 7 receiving touchdowns with 1,140 yards. So back-to-back really good years. I'm kind of shocked he hasn't had double-digit touchdowns yet. You think this player of the caliber should be able to and probably will have that, but apparently he's not having it quite yet. And I just wanted to point out something. We are in year 12, but Malik Nabers is now regressing. He's starting to regress. Like I said, he's starting to find a little spark in his play, but he is now regressed to a 79 overall. This is what he got in the past 2 years, 993 yards with 8 receiving touchdowns. So it's his best receiving touchdown, or 893 yards, but 8 receiving touchdowns. So I mean, that's a good year of touchdowns. 4 receiving touchdowns, 621 yards, though. Well, let's go and check his accolades so far, what he's accomplished. So no offensive player of the year, nothing fancy like that, but he has had 2 Pro Bowl appearances. And after that season with the New York Giants, he decides to sign with the Buffalo Bills. So I don't really hate that decision. I guess he feels like he's not being used enough at New York or something, or maybe the money was talking to him, or maybe he's trying to chase a ring. This is like around 14 years down the road, so I don't know if the Bills are still competing for a Super Bowl, and they are definitely not. At the end of the year, they were second worst in the league. The Commanders were the worst, though. So the team that I technically took over is the worst. I wasn't doing anything, by the way, guys. It's all on auto. I want this to be pure Madden sim, all in Madden's eyes. So 3-14 for the Bills. That is an ugly look. Malik Nabers, he was able to get around 350 yards and only 2 receiving touchdowns. So yeah, he's probably going to hang it up after the end of this season. I'd be kind of shocked if he didn't. It is a little sad. He's only had 1 playoff appearance and only 2 Pro Bowls, because I definitely feel like player with this kind of potential could accomplish way more. Maybe his younger years did get wasted with Daniel Jones there. Who knows? And he didn't retire, but nobody wanted to sign him. He was just chilling in free agency for the last year. I took over the Commanders. I was like, sure, we'll just give him an extra year. Why not? So this is how he did for us. He actually did better than what he did in Buffalo, and he's a year older. So he had around 880 yards and 4 receiving touchdowns. So he had a better year with Washington than he did Buffalo, or 600 yards, and 4 receiving touchdowns. So better year than he did with Buffalo. Like I said, he averaged 12.9 yards per reception. He averaged more yards per reception with Buffalo, but I guess he was able to get more targets and utilize more in Washington. It's offense. This is kind of what he looked like throughout his whole career. If you guys want to take a quick briefing so the most receiving touchdowns he had in a year was 12. Okay, so we did have a double-digit receiving touchdown. Okay, I thought he did, but it was only 1. Again, he should have more than that, and he finally retires. Washington Commander, after being in the league for 15 years, Malik Nabers retires. And like I said, guys, this dude leads LSU in receiving yards and receptions. LSU, I mean, they just produce such great wide receivers. I don't think Malik Nabers will be bad at all. I think he'll be a pretty solid player. I don't think he'll be a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL at any point of his career, but I definitely do think he'll be a solid name, and he'll make a couple Pro Bowl appearances, maybe a few All-Pros, maybe 1. So I guess he might be top 5 for a season or 2, but in Madden's eyes, apparently Having Daniel Jones as your quarterback for the first 3 years ruined him. And these are all the Super Bowl winners in case you guys were interested. The Buccaneers get a win in 2037. Then the Carolina Panthers, of all people, in 2036. And the Carolina Panthers, again, they're going back-to-back. Then the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2034 over the Bucks. Then 2033 is the Steelers. And then the Jets. Sauce Gardner was the Super Bowl MVP. I don't know about that. And then the Patriots won in 2031, a little bit of Super Bowl rematch right there, Patriots and Seahawks. Then the Dolphins win. Panthers, again, that is the third championship I've seen the Panthers have in this sim. That is crazy. All right, and the Bears win a Super Bowl as well. Caleb Williams is able to get the city of Chicago. Drake May is on the Jets, apparently. Maybe they might have traded for him, but the Jets are able to get another Super Bowl as well. 49ers are able to get a Super Bowl. The Ravens in 2025 versus the Packers. That actually might be a Super Bowl matchup a couple years down the road. Keep a lookout for that. Lamar and Jordan Love. The Ravens win again, and then the Chiefs win 41-14. So, yes, those are all the Super Bowl winners. This is around the end of the video. We try to keep it as much as Madden doing a simulation as possible. That's why everything was on auto. And Malik Nabers, overall, pretty solid career, but not good enough. And make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe.